My name is TECHFEST from class of 76, Chemical Engineering, Hostel 3. Anybody from Hostel 3 here? Cheers. Yeah. So, we are lucky to have Dr. Marlene Kanga. She was known as Fernandez in our days. She married a Kanga. She is the second woman to graduate in chemical engineering from IIT Bombay, way back in 76 from our batch. She obtained a master's degree in chemical engineering from the Imperial College London University, specializing in risk and process safety engineering. She also has a PhD in finance from Macquarie University, Sydney. Now Marlene is president of Paris-based World Federation of Engineering Organizations. Not many of us are aware what is WFEO, but around 100 countries have joined together to form this federation, and all the engineering institution of each country is a member of that. So in India, we have Institution of Engineers India, headquartered at Calcutta, which is a member of this federation. And I myself became a member of Institution of Engineers many years after graduation in 91. Thanks to Dr. Arun Dravid, who is also alumnus of IIT Bombay, distinguished alumnus of IIT Bombay, who forced us to become members, because he was managing director of a company where I was working. And it is necessary for all of us to get involved in these activities so that we contribute to the society and for other engineers at large. So, to head this organization internationally, it's a big honor for Marlene and for our batch. It represents 70 million engineers world over. She is the first Indian-born president of WFEO and first chemical engineer to do so. She is a distinguished alumna of IIT Bombay, 2012, distinguished fellow of Australia-India Institute. She is honorary fellow of Institution of Engineers Australia and Institution of Chemical Engineering UK. She is also fellow of Australian Academy of Engineering and the Asian Academy of Engineering. She is a member of the Order of Australia and Australian National Honor in recognition of leadership in engineering profession. Marlene is married to Rustam Kanga, who is also here, 73 batch chemical engineering alumnus of IIT Bombay, and they have two sons. Elder one, Jubin, has a PhD in music and performs concerts on piano. He is based in London. And the younger son, Jayan, has a PhD in chemistry and works in innovation consulting practice of KPMG in Sydney. So if you go to Kanga house and say Dr. Kanga, all four of them will raise hands because all are doctors. We, the batch of 76, are proud and happy to have Marlene here and look forward to her speech this morning. Welcome, Marlene.
Thank you very much, Deepak. It's a real honor and a pleasure to be here to talk about engineering and the impact that we can have on the world. And as Deepak said, I was in ladies' hostel, hostel 10 now. Is any ladies' hostel people here? So terrific to see you. I'd like to see more of you here. So I'm going to talk about engineering and the impact that we can have on the world. And I have to say, when I first came to IIT Bombay, I had one goal, and that was to study engineering. IIT Bombay was the place to be, and I loved mathematics and chemistry, so I wanted to do chemical engineering. So, you know, I got in, I got the discipline I wanted, and that was it. I had my head down, trying to study, you know, and make it through my first few years. I had little idea what it meant to be an engineer, and the power actually that engineering gives you. And I really wanted to convey to you, young people out there, some of you probably thinking about doing engineering or studying engineering, in terms of how important it is to be an engineer, especially in today's world. And my thesis is that we engineers have the force. We are the change makers. We can really make change. And we can have the dreams, but we also have the ability to change the world. And it's in our hands to make that change for better or worse. There's always a dialogue between science and engineering. And yes, science makes the discoveries. But it's the engineers who actually make it happen in a practical sense. And we learn, we get all kinds of abilities we are given when we study engineering in terms of how to make this happen. And engineers are constantly evolving, innovating, changing. We are finding solutions to problems, solutions to issues that didn't exist before. In my garage, I've got a whole heap of reports that I've worked on over the years, and each time I do something new and different, I say, oh, I'll keep a copy in case I need to look at it, another time. And in fact, I've never looked at those again, because each time I'm doing something new. And so this really gives you an idea of how much new stuff we're doing all the time. And we're always creating. Engineering is enormously creative. So people think that it's all about mathematics and science and physics and boring stuff, but actually it's tremendously interesting, innovative, and exciting. And I wanted to convey this to you. If we look back at history, and especially here in India, in Mohenjo-daro, for example, we had these ancient cities going back 2600 BC, where we had gridded streets and buildings. These were the engineers of the past who built these cities which made these economies work. And subsequent to that, we have, for example, the Mauryan Emperor Ashoka, who built great cities, and Akbar with Fatehpur Sikri. These were our early engineers, and these engineers built these cities which enabled these kingdoms to thrive. It enabled these emperors to rule the world, their world as they knew it. So engineering enabled social and economic and political power. And especially in India, I think it's very important to note that the Industrial Revolution and the discovery of the steam engine, for example, and the construction of railways, enabled the British not only to industrialize within the UK, but also to build their vast colonial empire and to colonize India. And it was the railways and that engineering that went into that technology of railway engines that enabled them to build the vast railways and control India. So here again you see engineering and technology driving that political power that went with it. And more recently we've had huge innovations in information technology, for example. The iPhone celebrated 10 years in June 2017. Unbelievable. It's only 10 years and yet we can't live without our mobile phones. Is there anyone here without a mobile phone? And if you have one, please turn it off. So this iPhone, just think about it. Technologies like Facebook and Twitter have enabled political change. We've seen this just a few weeks ago in Zimbabwe, right? They had a transition of power. We've seen this in Indonesia. We've seen it a few years ago in the Middle East. So technology has enabled communication, even when there's control by the government, like in China. They don't allow Facebook and Twitter in, but there's WeChat. And that communication enables, especially young people like yourself, to communicate with each other and exert political power and eventually economic power. So I certainly hope that with that power comes responsibility and that you will use that power wisely. But you can see then how important engineering and technology is and the kind of consequences that it can have on our economies and on our political systems.